Good morning. My name is Bob Gordon, and I'm a very grateful member of this congregation. Please take your seat. Welcome to the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. We honor you wherever you are in your spiritual path and know that there is something wonderful for each and every one of you here this morning. One of my favorite New Thought authors is Mark Nepo, who has written a number of books and is referred to from time to time by other people as well. But he wrote something I thought is just wonderful here. In a book called 7,000 Ways to Listen, which I believe may be a recommended book in our practice. Authenticity. The search for authenticity is as basic as lungs needing air. We need to feel authentic to be alive. There are 1,000 openings to being real. No one can name them all or master them all, but we don't have to. We only have to find one, breathe deeply, and leap. The leap of authenticity is poetry. Sometimes it's written, sometimes it's stitched in silence. Sometimes it is in a stranger's hand trying to piece back together the way. Thank you.
Nice.
The words to our morning chant will be on the screen shortly, and know that then that will be followed by the words of the spiritual mind treatment of our wonderful Reverend Karyl Huntley to take you and all of us deeply into our own centers. Thank you.
Heart is full, my mind is free. Good morning, everyone. And a special good morning to new faces. Several people I haven't met yet today have shown up, and so I'd love to meet you at the end of service and invite everyone now to just become fully present for the morning prayer. Letting go of anything that came before this moment, anything and everything. And entering into prayer, this positive self-statement with the purpose of resonating together, aligning our heartbeats and our breath and our knowingness. And so I begin the plunge into God by stating my absolute truth that the one life that enlivens everything is the holy life of God. And I am the Holy One. The life that I am living is the only life that there is, which is the life of God. And so that is the same in me and in the infinite presence that is the author of the universe. And if this is true for me, this is true for everyone here. Every single person can say in their heart of hearts, I am the Holy One. And as I am in my holy place, and each other one is in their holy place, it is the same place. Coming together in consciousness, in thought, in feeling, in heartbeat, in intention, in self-care, and in love for one another. I speak this word for everyone, that we are in our perfect place. Our perfect place for our greatest good, our greatest growth, our greatest joy, our greatest revelation, our greatest new thought, our greatest next moment and next moment and next moment. Miracle after miracle, glory into glory. This is who I am, and I claim it is who we are. I place this holy prayer into the receptivity of the law of God, and it is made so now in this instant. And so it is. Amen. Okay, then. All right. Coming back into the world of form. That's what it's about today. Eternity and earth, okay? So we were just in eternity there. And now we're going to stay in eternity because we have an amazing artist that is our guest today. Nadine Risha is... she's a goddess and a holy woman and a musical angel. So please welcome Nadine and Bodhi.
Thank you. We're on a wheel, spinning through the cosmos. All the love we feel spins away the fear. Walking up the ladder, emanating power. Blessed Holy Spirit, guide us on our way. For we are courage and we are freedom for all the people. all the people. As we lighten up the world, yes, we are masters and we are heroes for all the kingdoms. As we lighten up the world, yes, we are courage and we are freedom for all the people. As we lighten up the world, yes, we are masters and we are heroes for all the kingdoms. As we lighten up the world, courage and we are freedom for all the people. As we lighten up the world, yes, we are masters and we are heroes for all the kingdoms. As we lighten up the world, as we lighten up
Good morning. I'm Reverend Sarah Hargrave, staff minister at this wonderful spiritual community. We always like to start with gratitude. And, you know, we are a teaching, healing philosophy, and it's our goal to give you the tools and information you need to live your full magnificence. So we have classes, and we have teachers. So we want to honor and give thanks to all the teachers of both the adult and the children today. So if you are a teacher, stand up. Children. We always like to bless our children, and today the children are going to be talking about the power of the mind. So look forward over to the children and of all ages, and wave goodbye as they go off to teach their teachers. If you didn't notice, there's books out. Books, books, books. We're having a used book sale today, and the sale benefits the youth church. Be sure and take a bunch home with you today, because there are so many good books over there ready with your name on them to go home with you. And also, if you have some at home that you're complete with and would like to bring for others to enjoy, next week bring them about 20 minutes before service so they can get out, and then other people can enjoy them and take them home. There's also calendars and CDs, so it's not just books. New member process. If you've been thinking at all about considering membership in this wonderful community, then there's a new member orientation next Sunday afternoon at the Learning Center from 12:30 to 3, and you can find out if this is the path that is right for you. So we invite you to come to that next Sunday. Classes starting next week. And it's time to sign up for those. There's a class table over here. You can find out more. I think Posey has something she wants to say about her class.
Good morning. Does anybody in this room have a place where they might feel a little stuck ever? Ever? Okay, just a few of you. Any of you who haven't yet had a dream manifest? Or even know what your dreams are? Any of us in the room? Thank you. At least one. Well, if any of you felt a little bit of response to that, I am offering a brand new course. It's only 4 weeks for those of us who have short attention spans. It's called Become the Oscar-Winning Director of Your Own Life. And it really is about taking all of these tools that we've been hearing about for a long time and working deeply on either a stuck place, a dream, something that we're wanting to move into that place of choice and allowing, to rewrite our script to have a whole brand new experience of life. There's also special pricing for this class. If you either pay in full or give a $50 non-refundable deposit by February 2nd. There's $25. You pay $25 less for the class. And I'll be here after service, and expect to go deep and have fun and have a rich experience. So I hope you will think about joining me. Thank you.
Thank you, Posey. All you Aquarians out there, birthday party coming up, January 31st. So all are welcome, whether you're an Aquarian or not, to come to this party and bring food to share for a fun party. I attended the Sagittarius, and it was great. So I know some of you have already attended some of them, and they're wonderful. So I think now is the time. Reverend Karyl has some things to say, including her message. So our wonderful spiritual leader, Reverend Karyl Huntley.
Before I go into the talk part, I do have a couple more announcements myself. And the first is about the home study groups. We have 7 homes that are host homes, and that is so fabulous. And the event table is now over by the window. So for those of you who are hosts, there's some information that you need to fill in that you need to know. They need to know exactly where to come, your address, exactly what day you're going to start. And I sent you an email to this effect. And then for those of you, everybody, I want you in a home study group this year. 1 meeting a month. You can choose it according to the day or according to the geography, and all of those sign-up sheets are available to you on the event table. And we are going to pre-sell tickets for the Making Heaven on Earth event of February 1st. This is my debut into offering an event. Just like I'm going to put my big girl panties on and offer an event. And so it's going to be an evening of inspiration and music and magic, and it'll have some of the magical aspects of solstice, because it is the next ancient holiday on February 1st and 2nd. And so there'll be presents and surprises. And so it'll support you, and it'll support me, because you're going to watch me step into my next expression. And I love you for pushing me. And so today we are also having graduation. We are having graduation for a couple of years' worth of students. So I'm going to go through this very quickly, and the quickness does not have anything to do with how much I love and support and honor the graduation of all of these students. So as I call your name, please stand. For Foundations Fall of 2011, Patricia Brady, Paula Karp, Denise Johnson, and Libby Lill. Foundations Winter 2013, and just stay standing, Maya Cooper, Lisa Danovich, Heidi Fenn, Jim Huntley, David Seltzer, Kathleen Swiston, Laurel Wilson. Spiritual Practices, Fall 2011. This is like the Academy Awards. Barbara Crow, Leslie Giannetti, Pat Sandry. Roots, Spring 2012, Leslie Giannetti, Ann Langell, Patricia Sandry, and Regina Uribis. Mind-Body Connection, Summer 2012, Barbara Crow, David Dull, Leslie Giannetti, Helen Graves, Joe Hughes, Cindy Lou Jansen, Tom Merrill, and Pat Sandry. Visioning, Spring 2012, Sandra Aguirrebebe, Patty Cohn, Mary Cosgrove, Regina Krause, Ellen Nicosia, and Deborah Paul. Essential Ernest Holmes Winter 2011, Paula Karp, David Dull, Leslie Giannetti, and Tom Merrill. Sue Ruda, Pat Landry, and Regina Uribis. Essential Ernest Holmes Winter 2012, Galen Cooper, Jim Huntley, Ann Langell, Franz Viana, and Laurel Wilson. And Practitioner 1, Leslie Giannetti, Ann Langell, Pat Sandry, and Franz Viana. Please give these great students applause. Yay! Now, you all have frameable certificates. And Gail Durkin, our president, will be at the education table so that you will can pick up your certificates at the end of service. Congratulations to everyone. All right, we're now going to transition into the message. So here we are, the second Sunday of the year. Do you have one of those, the big ones? Those big, yeah. Okay. So you all should have one of these. This is, our theme for the year is 2014, the year of yes, living what we believe. Now you recall, well, maybe you don't recall, but some of you will, and if you are new, our founder, Ernest Holmes, who gathered truth tendrils from all traditions, wrote in 1927 an essay called What I Believe. That has 12 statements in it. These are the 12 statements right here, which is now what we believe. And we're going to take one of these statements every single month through the year and really go into depth on it. And it is my, you know, I am not one to go too much into how many metaphysical angels can dance on the head of a pin. So we'll do a little bit of that theory and philosophy and a lot of application for your life. And that's what the home studies is about, is the application for your life. So everybody needs one that looks like this. And with these lines on it where, as you go, this is going to be your little Bible for the whole year, where you can write on these lines what you believe about these subjects. Okay? That's the introduction to the, well, it's not the entire introduction to the year. I have a little bit more introduction, but quickly we'll go through this because I did this last week. Many of you weren't here last week, so we'll do a deep understanding of our philosophy, and then we will take that philosophy with a great big yes to whatever part of it we can be enthusiastic about, because you know that word enthusiasm, that means God within us. When we are enthusiastic, we are expressing the God within us with a big yes. So everybody's going to find their big yes and go through the year pretty darned enthusiastically. Then third, practical applications to make our experience better, because there's no use in talking about metaphysical angels on the head of a pin unless it can alleviate suffering and our feeling of separation when that comes up. And then finally is making connections through small groups. So that's the home study. That's what we're going to do this year. So for those of you that have the handout today, would you read with me the belief statement that we are working with in January? We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. Phew, is what I can say to that. Our word today is cause. And I want to draw your attention to this lovely altar by Lori Greer. Lori is new to the altar team, and this is her first altar, so can we acknowledge Lori? So we have the self-existent cause here. That is the creator, the author of the universe, manifesting itself. The flame is the same, manifesting itself as the forms of the earth. And here we have the symbol of the seeds into the flowers. The seeds are representative of cause, of thought, of the word. We'll go into this today. But this is like the whole talk in symbolic form. This is First cause, this is the creation. And so, fabulous, fabulous first altar for Lori. So I have to say that this self-existent cause piece, I hope, actually, it is the deepest theoretical piece that we do this year, because I was pacing this week trying to find out how in the world I was going to make this interesting, relevant, with as good a story as the tattoo story last week. So I was pacing, and my daughter, my 21-year-old tattooed Melanie, texted me at the moment, and she was talking about the stress in her life. And I'm going, oh, I'm stressed too about my talk. And she said, oh, what is it about? I said, self-existent cause. This is her response. Yikes, don't do it. She's been in this for all of her life. So she's like, don't do it. Pick a new topic and blame the cause for chains on God. Done and done. Oh, nonetheless, we are moving forward with this wonderful self-existent cause. All right, so bear with me, and there will be more stories. But this is essential to our joy in life, that we understand this. And by the time I'm done today, I want all of you to say, I am so glad she took this on and did not do what her daughter said. So, the title of my talk is The Difference Between Eternity and Earth. We have a foot in both. We have a foot in eternity and a foot in earth. And all of it is God. Because last week the word was one. It's all one thing. Whatever you're looking at is an aspect of the one. Whatever you're feeling is an aspect of the one. There's nothing that is outside of God, because God is the whole thing, all one thing. So eternity, the aspect of eternity, is changeless, never-ending, constant, self-sustaining, independent. It makes things and situations out of itself, but it never changes. When God makes something out of itself, when God makes a mountain, when God makes a planet, when God makes a star, when God makes a puppy, there is not less of God. There is always the same oneness, no matter what comes out of that oneness. In the Bible, the very first thing you read in Genesis, where it says, "Let there be light," and there was light, I like to interpret that as the Big Bang. I don't see any difference between science and the Old Testament. And so this unbelievable brilliance did not diminish that which made it. All of that light came out of God, and God was the same. When we say self-existent cause remained unchanged, we mean that every single thing that happens, that comes out of eternity, does not impact the allness of God. So there is never, ever a possibility that God will go out of existence. It cannot happen. And we say self-existent cause because God is the one uncaused cause. Now that is as mysterious as I'm going to get today, but I'll say it again because it's kind of cool. God is the only uncaused cause. That's what it means by self-existent cause. Okay, that's eternity. That's where we are. And we are here in earth, on earth. So let's talk about what earth is. The things that are created are subject to form and the properties of form. I love when Michael Hart prays. every single time she does a closing prayer, she talks about all these things that fall into form. That's her phrase. Nobody else really says it that way. I love that. Fall into form. And that's what happens. The allness, the unformed substance, the eternalness, the changelessness, the self-sustaining aspect of God, the independent, uncaused cause, falls into form. And earth properties are mass, gravity, time, change, beginnings and endings, space, dependency, the finite aspect of form, the fragility of stuff here, and everything changes. Okay, you with me? There is not the possibility of living unchanged on earth. So let's take those two possibility statements. There is not a possibility that God will go out of existence. The positive way to say that is God is eternal. And there is not a possibility that we living in earthly form will not be changed. We will be. We are changed all the time. This change gives us the seasons. It gives us incredible beauty. It gives us incredible pain. It gives us the variety of earthly experience. And beloveds, we chose this. We chose this amazing earthly experience where we fell into form, and everything that we know fell into form, and it will all change. So, in the Bible, this Old Testament, many Bibles, I didn't look at this up in all the other Bibles, but I'm pretty sure it's there. This is from Psalm 101. Of old hast thou laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the work of thy hands. They shall perish, but thou shalt endure. Yea, all of them shall wax old like a garment. As a vesture shalt thou change them, and they shall be changed. But thou art the same, and thy years shall have no end. So, you inform change, and you as an aspect of the living God do not change. So it could, and it does for me, give me the feeling of great security that I can have my human experience. I can spin out of control. I can be depressed for years. I can participate in all kinds of activities that bring me closer to God and send me far away from God, and God doesn't change. The life that created me and you does not change. We live in the changeless heaven of God while yet on earth. So I want you to feel that with me, that no matter what we go through, no matter what heights or depths we experience, there is that is always around us, unchanging, absolutely constant. So when we talk about that thing as cause, there's an aspect to the one that we're talking about. And cause is the idea, the belief, the concept that initiates the activity of God, which is creation. And what is created are the effects. So we have cause and we have effects. It is, I'll say that again, it is the idea, the word, the consciousness, the concept that sets the creative activity in motion, that creates all this stuff that is always the effect. It is the end product of the creative capacity. Troward calls it selection and initiative. God selected to create light first. not anything else. I mean, I guess it could have been he created the form of earth first, or it created the form of earth, or I don't want to get into the anthropomorphic choices of God, but we have choices. And when we choose through our habits, our subconscious, or our conscious mind, we use the same creative law that created the heavens and the earth. So in the New Testament, the way this is expressed is the first chapter of John, the Gospel of John. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. All things were made by Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made. So what that says is that the creative process of anything, whether it is a planet or your calendar and what you put on it, starts with the word or an idea. And that word or idea pulls something out of eternity into form. Now that is just so amazing. I really think that is totally mind-blowing. That we bring things out of eternity into the world of form and space. And that word or that cause is the reason for all of the effects that all merge together in everyone's life. No wonder everybody was so amazingly blown away by the Higgs boson particle. You know, that sort of scientifically says this particle slows down the energy patterns of the infinite realm and puts mass to them. It drags it through the mass, and that's how science explains the unseen hands of the angels that make stuff for us in the realms in between. So as humans, we have a foot in both realms. We have a foot in eternity, we have a foot in earth. And we have the powers and the limitations of both realms. We use the creative activity of God, and we specify what is to be created by our conscious choice or by our subconscious acquiescence. And there are skills about how to create what fills you with joy, and those are in every single class. So if this is creating something in you that says, I want to know how to do this, I want to know how to do this, take a class and you'll know how to do this. It's taught in all the classes, how to use the creative law. And what is possible to create. So we all have the changeless life of God within us. And we all live in the world of form, which is always changing. So that is a unique combination that we have that God doesn't have. When we think of the endless mistakes that result from supposing that the conditions and bounds and limits and choices that we have apply to God's infinite existence. Well, I'll go through this next part and you'll see. Because God is infinite, there are things that God cannot do. And this is, thank goodness, really, when you go through these. But it's because of our anthropomorphizing God and putting our capabilities and insecurities on God that we even have these issues to talk about. And I love it that most of you still have your eyes on me. This is very, very good. This is very good. So, God cannot leave us. God cannot leave us because God is omnipresent. There is no way in the world that if God is everything and everywhere and present equally in all places, in all dimensions, in all realms, in all times, that God could say, that one, no, that I am pulling away from that one. No. As far away as you have ever felt from God, it's you, sweethearts. It's not God. God can't withdraw. No matter how lonely or abandoned or separate or out of goodness far from what you would like, you have ever felt, it is not because you have been abandoned by your Creator. And it's not about anything bad you've done either. I mean, every single person does the very best they can at every single moment, making their own choices from the highest place they can. And sometimes we all feel abandoned, and it's not because of God. Okay, breathe that in. God can't leave us. God cannot be for one and against another of its creation. Why? Because all is one. And so, every prayer that has ever been prayed in war, every prayer that has ever been prayed for winning, every prayer that has ever been prayed for, I get compensated and somebody else doesn't, is a useless prayer and leads to your feeling of separation. Breathe that one in. This is a really, really good one for picking what to pray for. Because prayer does nothing to God. God's changeless. Prayer only does something for us. And so when we choose, when we really think about what we want and how in our highest moments we want that good thing for everyone, that changes what we pray for. And a useful prayer is for the good of all and the harm of none. Not only does that prayer have a really good chance of being answered the way you think you want it answered, but it serves to connect you to your brothers and sisters and to acknowledge the connection that is already there with God. Breathe that one in. God cannot be bargained with. Why? Because God is omniscient. God doesn't have to think anything over. God does not have to say, oh, that one has a good point. Let me think about that. Maybe I will give them what they want if they do what they said they were going to do. Maybe. No. So all of the sacrifice that we think we have done for God, well, I don't need to say it. All of the eons of sacrificing those poor lambs, nothing. It does nothing to God. Because God already gives us everything. No bargaining chips. Sacrifice is not necessary. Breathe that one in. Last one is, God cannot be added to or diminished because God is omnipresent. Every single thing is already in God. And if something is created out of God, there's still the allness. Omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, and all in one. So this one, God cannot be added to or diminished. Nothing you do or don't do does anything to the allness of God. All that sin stuff does nothing to God. I don't think God cares. I think if God has any thinking process like mine, God might say, well, isn't that fascinating what that one chose? Isn't that interesting how they're doing that together? Isn't that interesting how it looks like harm is being done? Oh, well, it's all fake blood anyway. They're all coming home to me. So, any judgment that you have had about yourself or fear that God is judging you, please let it go. Let it go. Your hating yourself does not magnify God. Your judging yourself does not diminish God. God's all there is. And so now, this should make us feel free from separation, comparison, a need to please God. It should make us free from worry that we're going to offend God for God's sakes. It can't happen. And so it should put us in a place of feeling ready for the big yes. Because that's all that God ever says, is yes to you. Yes, you're lonely. Yes, you're prosperous. Yes, you're in love. Yes, you're needy. Anything is yes, my darlings. You want to experience that? Okay. Yes. 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 So this is our opportunity to take that yes inside. And you know, it's Francine that put this tag on our theme this year. So I'm giving her 3 minutes to talk about it. And she's got a proposition for you.
So I texted Melanie and I said, your mother once is going to be talking about self-existent cause and would like me to talk about yes and kind of lighten things up in the middle of it. And she texted back, yikes, do it. So I've had this idea of living in yes for several years, and I've actually shared it with anyone who's willing to listen, including myself and my husband. And the idea, obviously, is from Spirit, and the idea is about living every day, moving toward what feels good, what draws us, what invites us. Now, it's all about change. As Karyl said, everything around us changes, whether we choose how we're going to be in that change and move with it or not. So God says yes to us, to whatever we're thinking, whatever we don't even know we're thinking, God says yes to us constantly. And the idea of living in yes is simply about being pretty clear about what you would like God to respond to and say yes to. So when I first talked to some people about yes, and even to myself, it can sound a little scary, living in yes. When I mentioned it to my husband, and he said, well, what if your yes is going to Italy next week and living there, and I don't want to do it? I said, well, then that wouldn't be a yes to me. A yes to me wouldn't include anything that didn't include my husband. So a living in yes makes you start thinking about what is yes to you, because it's different for every person, what that yes is. And when you think about it even more, it gets a little less scary because it's really what we're doing anyway. It's just being more conscious of it. Because this philosophy, as wonderful as it is, as life-changing as it is not meant to be a philosophy of thinking only. It's meant to be a philosophy and a way of living. And so living in yes is living what we believe, living what feels good. So I'm so glad Karyl loves this idea, and I'm so glad that with these home groups, we're going to be actually giving everyone the tools and the support and the inspiration to live in yes this year. It's my dream that this is the absolute best year ever, 2014, for each one of us, and for this community at large, and for the world at large. And so it's our commitment, it's our yes to provide that inspiration and provide the support for all of you to live in a yes, for all of us to do this together. We're going to rock and roll this year. Now, yes doesn't mean, if you know me, yes means a lot of big things in the world. Yes can mean choosing more peace in your life. Yes can mean choosing more calm. Yes can mean being finally ready to permanently heal something that hurts. Whatever it means to you. And so I want to share, I'm still a work in progress here. This so far is what I've written down for my own promise of yes. And as I said, I'm starting to create my own rules of yes. Rules like, it must include my husband. It must feel good. It must represent expansion and expression and creativity and fun. I'm creating my own personal rules, and I invite you to too. So this is my personal promise that I'm working with so far. I promise to follow my heart and spirit within me and say yes to whatever feels good and whatever serves my highest good. I will only seek and do what feels right to me. If I cannot find a way for something to become a way for my good or a way for the good of others, I won't say yes to it. I'll bless it and move on to what does. So living in yes is just being conscious every day, every moment of what is calling to you, what you want to say yes to. And so I hope that this inspires you and gets you excited about the theme for this year and encourages you to join the home groups and see how we're all going to be making the best year ever with spirit, living in yes. Thank you.
So be thinking what that yes means to you for the rest of this month. There'll be an opportunity. I haven't figured out how we're going to do this for everybody because we're too big for everybody to say a statement like that in a service. But the first Sunday of February, which is February 2nd, which is the day after the Making Heaven on Earth event, we will have an opportunity to state our yes somehow in this community. And that's the perfect time with the ancient calendar because that was the blessing of the seeds. That was the ancient holiday of blessing of the seeds. So I want you to consider February 1st and 2nd as kind of a whole thing that you get to do to set this wonderful, wonderful year in motion. So to conclude here, using cause to live in yes. I have this email that comes to me every day from Mike Dooley, and he had this wonderful little workshop for creation, and here it is. Ask once, give thanks often. That's the end of the workshop. And so what that is ask once is creating the cause, and give thanks often is that living in eternity of being grateful that God is your source forever and ever and ever. This is the perfect way of having one foot in each place, in earth and in eternity. Ask once and give thanks often, and that's the end of it. So I also said that I was going to, and it's here right here on the back here, the takeaway. This takeaway, because we are working with theory and philosophy this year, I want you to be able to take something away that you can actually go home and tell your family when they say, well, what did that crazy church do with you today? Or when you're having coffee with somebody and they say, what is that about again? Every single week we're going to have something you can say So last week was at the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. We learned that everything is connected and holy. And this today is, I am a part of eternity even now on earth. Now that should spark a conversation. Thank you for being so in the present moment this morning and exploring this with me. In the inner work, I want to take us to eternity. So let's do that right now. So with our feet on the floor and imagining our little foot roots growing down and our spine straight, and imagining all of the connections in our brain to burst through the top of our head and the branches with the silvery leaves face toward heaven, growing up out of us, connecting heaven and earth. I would like you to imagine that there is a doorway between earth and eternity. The doorway is special to you. The doorway can be a representation of the infinite. It can be Ganesh, it can be Rama, it can be Great Spirit, it can be Buddha, it can be Jesus, it can be Aphrodite, any representation of the deity. Your doorway could be a beautiful oak tree with a hole that a little burrowing animal has made in its base. Your doorway could be a bonfire. Your doorway could be an ancestor. Your doorway could be the eyes of your beloved. It is an easy symbol of God for you. And you find you can go right through it into eternity. And the way that you know that you're in eternity is that your edges soften and love infiltrates every particle of your existence. The deepest love that you have ever felt, the joy, the connection, the sparkliness, the connectivity, the ease, the joy, the peace, the excitement. All the words are less than the experience. Deep, deep love with no edges. See how easy it is to move into eternity, the place of the mind of God, where a question can be asked, a problem given to God to solve, the request of a new idea, a prayer, or simply a place to stay and enjoy for as long as you want. Every breath can take us to eternity. In this moment now, we maybe keep a toe in eternity. We keep that door open. Come back now here, feeling your roots into the earth, your branches into the heavens. the edges of your body coming back into shape. And then the roots growing back up into your body, the branches growing back down into your body. Feeling yourself on the chair, knowing all is well. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes on earth. Blessed be.
Shayanam Padmanabham Suresham Shahantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadaram Gagana Sadhasham Shahantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Amen. Dominus illuminatio me. Amen. Dominus illuminatio me. Amen. Vishnu, 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 Shantaakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadaram Gagana Sadrasham Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadaram Gagana Sadrasham Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Amen. Namaste.
So Nadine has CDs right behind the altar here. Would the ushers please come forward? And from this full place of intense well-being, I ask you to give from your hearts and know that we replicate the nature of God when we give. So let your heart stay in the place where you are right now, because money is just an aspect of God that we get to share with what we love right now. So, would the ushers please receive these sacred gifts?
Are
So we give thanks for this offering today. We give thanks for all of the gifts that have been given today. We give thanks for our life, our foot on earth, and our foot in eternity. Blessed be. All right, almost time for shopping and for signing up for the home study. For buying tickets for the Heaven on Earth event. I also have my flyers for the trips out there. And if I don't know you, please come and introduce yourself and come again next week. And so Reverend Sarah is going to pray us out now.
Would the practitioners come forward, please? And all the other practitioners, please surround the room in consciousness. These practitioners who are on the table are professionals there to serve you. They volunteer their time. Every Sunday we have volunteers that are there to support you. So join me now. And I speak my word for myself, knowing that for each of you that accept it for your own, it is also true, your word. I give thanks that there is only one power and presence in the universe, that I am one with it. I give thanks for that awareness, and the awareness that I am a magnificent masterpiece of spirit, unique and special, unlike any other that has ever been or ever will be. And knowing that truth about myself, I say yes to life. Yes to love, to joy, to ease. Yes to vibrant health. Yes to clarity and guidance. And yes to allowing all those things which are no longer of need or use to me to be released back to the nothingness of consciousness they came from, so that the new and more supportive can emerge. So accepting that as the truth, I simply wait for wonderful reports and delightful surprises. And so it is. Amen.
So I ask you all to stand now for our affirmation and closing song. So right up here. The eternal life of God is my life now. The cause of everything in the universe is brought forth by the activity of God, in part by means of my consciousness. I therefore hold this creative process in awe, and I endeavor to think the thoughts of God.